John, would you like to share? Okay. I'm going to call to order the Port Orchard City Council's work study session for June 16th. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So Janine, work with us here. We got new microphones here. The one up there on the ceiling that was capturing our meetings quit working. And this was a less expensive alternative to add these microphones here. So just let us know, Janine, if you're picking us up fine. And if we need to move them closer to us or anything of that nature. With that, I believe City Council is going to go into an executive session for how long?
30 minutes. 30 minutes.
All right, the 30-minute executive sessions.
First,
Starting at Council, or excuse me, Ms. Archer.
pursuant to RCW 4231 10 subpart 1 subpart I, so we will be back in open session at 7:05.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7:05. Yeah. With action to follow associated with the agenda.
Okay.
To use the. Yeah, that's on.
Okay. That TV is just gonna be tough. You got all kinds of wires there though.
Testing. Oh, no. It's on the green light. Oh, is it working?
Oh, there's red, green. Can you guys read that screen okay?
Yeah, I got this one over here too.
Okay, all right, we're good. All right, we're back in session.
All right, so.
And we're going to jump into our discussion items. The first of which is a fundraising consultant contract that we'd like to enter into with Northwest Philanthropic Partners. And Brad Thomas is here today to talk about the opportunity we have before us. So Brad, welcome. And your the presentation is yours.
Super. And somebody's going to click for me through the presentation. So, hey, Northwest Philanthropic Partners. Hey, and is the slide, it seems like the slide's a little off, but is that, hey, we are a consulting firm. Guess what? We're actually based here in Port Orchard. Both Nate Hersey, my partner, and I both live here. He actually lives in the city, and I don't. I live on North Banner up above South Colby. So anyway, so that's what makes us unique. And we're just excited to be here and be selected as your fundraising consultants for both phase 1 and for doing a feasibility study, which we'll look at here in just a second. And so here is, I'm going to pause just because if you could just click on the second slide or
She's going to bring it.
She'll there you go. Lovely.
Look at that. We are having all kinds of technologies.
Right. It's
You know what? All's around Brad too.
yeah. Okay. All right. So we love it. Okay. So fundraising campaign proposal. So next slide, please. I will own any technology issue. Hey, our vision, inspire generosity among community members to create lifelong community impact, one person and one project at a time. So what we're not is we're not a national firm. We don't have 5 to 10 clients all going at the same time. We literally have this one project and we're dedicated to it and its success. Next slide, please. And purpose and place, the power of third spaces. Has everybody heard the term third space? And so, hey, so I literally, when I was at Edmonds College, this is the Edmonds Waterfront Center. Before it was created, it was about a 90-year-old senior center. And the senior center and the city, it was a great partnership. Public and state funding, and they did an $18 million capital campaign. And as you can see today, and so I was a Rotary, Edmonds Daybreakers Rotary Club member. We as a group helped fund and put our name on one of the meeting rooms in this building. And today it really is what you envision your waterfront and meeting center to be, and library in downtown Edmonds. It is amazing. And I hope that the impact of the Port Orchard Event Center has the same impact that the Edmonds Waterfront Center has today. So next slide, please. Here's, experience matters, capital campaign experience. Nate Hersey and I just finished a $4 million campaign at Summit Pacific Medical Center in Elma, Washington. If you know anything about East Grays Harbor County, it's about 20,000 people. I don't think very many people in that area thought we could raise, we set out to raise $3 million and we raised $4 in a matter of about 18 months. At Edmonds College, I helped lead a $3 million campaign for a new STEM and nursing building at Edmonds College, which has about 18,000 students. They had never put a donor's name on any building or any room or anything. And so it was a really a great project there. At Northwest Medical Teams, which is now International Medical Teams, I was involved in a capital campaign there. It was $8.5 million. I was only involved in it for a couple of years, helped raise about $1 million of the 1.8 in the first couple of years, helped recruit steering committee members. And then when I was at City of Hope National Medical Center towards the beginning of my career, I also too helped secure lead gifts. This was a $500 million campaign. So, and I was there for 5 of the 7 years, but very significant experience there. And so next slide, please. And this is kind of a combined phase 1 and feasibility study, as it says, not to exceed $70,000. Hopefully, both of those will be done in July and August, and hopefully we'll be back here reporting to you at the end of August, because time is of the essence. Just in that, and I'll talk about this, the timing more. Next slide, please. And another slide. Here's phase 1 task breakdown, really focused on campaign cabinet, making sure we have a leadership group of business leaders, community leaders, and donors to help kind of steer and attract donors in general. So the steering committee, donor prospect identification, super important. We do that early. And then grant research for public and private foundation research, CRM software, getting that all organized so we can collect data from everybody we meet from phase 1 to phase 2. Super important. Partnering with the library campaign, a communication and PR plan, putting together initial case for support, super important when we're going out and meeting with future steering committee members and prospective donors in the feasibility study, which we'll see here. Go ahead, next slide. And we have the feasibility task breakdown. These are all parts, tables in the 2 proposals we've submitted recently. So there's So really the key there is conducting at least 25 confidential interviews with stakeholders, community members, to make sure to kind of test, is the $5 million goal for this campaign realistic? Are people excited about it? And so getting that feedback, and we'll come back and report to you those findings once again at the end of August. Yes. Hey, $5 million. And and the goal would really be about 5.5 or 5.6, so we can pay for the cost of the campaign. And so when we're done, we can actually give the city $5 million. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, stakeholder interviews, how do you?
Yeah, and I kind of started a list. I got a little feedback from Rob, but really that's one of the things you do at the first steering committee. When I say first, it begins at the first steering committee meeting, and there's even one of the next slides. It says steering committee will meet quarterly. I'm suggesting we meet at least once a month for the first year, because figuring out the right people to go interview in feasibility study and phase one, super important, getting the right people that have influence, that have, you know, interest, and just, you know, having a nice variety of who you interview.
Well.
Yeah. So, yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, that's right. He's asking, so, yeah. Yeah, and we're 3 or 4 minutes from being done. And so, hey, phase one, I don't think there's anything that I haven't mentioned. Developing a campaign plan, gift table schedule, gift acceptance policy, and partnering with the Kitsap Community Foundation, super important, because most of the donors are going to want to donate so they can get a charitable deduction. And so whether that's 80 or 90% of the donors, and so that's part of all of this.
Can they, are you able to donate? Say I want to donate $1 million. I mean, I'm not going to do it, but say you want to donate $1 million. Could you donate 100,000 a year?
Yes,
That's what
and
Jay's gonna do.
hey, and so it's a great question. So,
For tax purposes.
yeah, hey, so best practice would be that we would decide, steering committee would make a recommendation, that, hey, we either choose 3, 4, or 5 years on the payment. So I wouldn't suggest going out 10 years. That's kind of best, you know, somewhere in there,
Sure.
3, 4, 5 years. Just so, because the reality is you got to pay for this project, but I mean, especially donors who are given, let's say $1 million or $500,000, right? Somebody would give $500,000, they might want to pay. And now I'm here to say that what I've just experienced, the $500,000 donor would commit $100,000, and hey, if business is doing well and life is doing well, that might be their commitment. Most of those level of donors tend to just pay it off early. Right, because they're not just given to you; they're given to other people, and they like want to get it taken care of. And so, Paul's one of our lead donors, and he committed to 300,000. And here we're about, you know, he's paid on it for about 2 years, and he's almost paid the whole 300,000. Well, he'll probably go 400,000 just because he loves our CEO or our Summit CEO. But anyway, yeah, great question. Yes.
Does this involve Navy birds?
It does. It does. And hey, and that's part of phase one. And we'll update what you guys have already done. And so just making sure it's best practice aligned. Great question. Next slide, please. Building partnerships with these organizations, no surprise to any of you, Kitsap Regional Library and the Foundation, the Chamber, Community Foundation already mentioned, regional foundations, private and public foundations, super important to the success of this campaign. I would think we'd get at least $1 million from the foundations. And every campaign you think this percentage will come from individuals, this percentage will come from companies, and this percentage will come from foundations. And I could guess right now, it always turns out different than what you would anticipate, just because, you know, anyway, I'm just here to say, like the campaign we just did, we had a lot more corporate support than I imagined. And so, hey, right. I mean, 2 corporate gifts equaled $1.2 million, in the forest industry together raised $1 million. So just, you know, that right there, 2.2 million of a $4 million campaign. I couldn't have projected that. But anyway, so business leaders mentioned those already. Next slide, please. It's super important that have 100% commitment from the city council, from department heads, just making sure, hey, this is a big project for the community. And the last thing you want is somebody like speaking negatively about the project out in the community. That's an important leader within the organization. So that's why that's so important. And public and private foundations actually would really want to see everybody at the table and our steering committee, 100% participation, right, at some level. So that's super important to them. And it's not important to all of them, but to the Murdoch Trust, who give a lot of capital gifts, it's super important to them, and they're probably the hardest to get money from. But they gave us $400,000 for our new MRI. They'd probably fund this project. It's just that, you know, sometimes to get big money, you have to really work for it. So next slide, please. Campaign steering committee success. I think I had mentioned most of this, just making sure we get passionate, well-connected individuals who have roots in the community. And I'm gonna go on a little squirrel here in the community, in my mind, since I live outside of this city, everybody that has a Port Orchard, address probably is gonna make up 90% of the gifts outside of the companies that might be on the other side of the bay, or, hey, it's all gonna, like I said, we can't guess how all this money comes in, but I will say my last campaign, one of the donors, lived in the area his whole life, but now lives in Beaverton, Oregon. And so I went and visited him a couple times, and each time I went and visited, they gave us $10,000. And so there are people who live afar who will probably support this campaign.
It's tough to shop.
It's tough to what?
Shop in South Kitsap.
Yes.
Without shopping in the city limits.
Yes.
See what I'm saying? So
Yes.
it's like, it's not like going out to a certain county and one of the Seattle suburbs.
Yes.
The city's small and you can shop anywhere.
Right.
I mean, City of Portrait might be small for South Kitsap, but we're literally the hub that everyone has to enter all the time.
Yes.
So I think there's some buy-in,
Right.
kind of what you're saying.
Yeah,
You live
yeah.
in Manchester, you still think you're at Port Orchard.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Great point. Next slide. Potential interviewees. This is a short list, and Rob added a couple, today to this. Thank you. And I'm hoping that all the steering committee members would come with a short list of 6 to 10 people who they think we should either interview, invite for the steering committee, and then that's phase 1 and 2. When we really get into phase 1 and the feasibility study, but when we get into phase 2, that list will just keep growing. I mean, probably for a year.
You guys, I welcome, and Brad and I both welcome you. You guys know people in the community too. You got 2 or 3 people you think, we ought to be talking to, send it to me. I don't want to bog
Please.
tonight.
And that's really, that's part of that leadership buy-in. That's super important. And so anyway, this is when I say the beginning, this isn't even 1%. Like we had to start somewhere, and I have family that lived in in Port Orchard area, got into South Kitsap. I think my wife's family has been here either 3 or 4 generations since early 70s. So, and what's next?
Well, I'm just laughing because you know what they say about every successful guy. And I'm going like, I think Green should be up there instead of Steve. It's got an influence, sure. So I just
thank you.
I'll put this on.
Please do, please, because this I had to start somewhere, and I reached out to my stepson. He and his cousin own a business, Quality Coding, that was based here for the last 10 or 15 years, and so anyway, next slide. Yes, there you go. Right. So phase 2, launch campaign, donor cultivation, lots of that, campaign and institutional grant proposals. We've talked about those. Lead gift solicitations happens early in the first 6, lots of it in the first 6 months. Public phase and community campaign usually doesn't launch until you hit 60% of your fundraising total. And my easy math was $3.3 million is what we need to get to before we really go public. And hopefully the construction begins and going public are fairly close to each other within a month or 2 or 3, somewhere in there. Just because the buildings will start coming out of the ground, and that mid-level donors, I'm going to call mid-level 25 to 100,000, and some of the quiet phase donors, their second step in cultivation will be walking through the building. I mean, just as like maybe the studs are up and the roof's not on. That's like they want to see the preview. It's super important. Last slide, please. I think I'm on the last slide. There you go. Other questions?
So you're first. You wait for me, Scott.
So I imagine there's lots of people in the community who would like to donate, but don't have the purchase.
Yep. Yep.
I imagine there'll be an opportunity for people to throw in anywhere from $50.
Yep.
Well, whatever.
Yes. Yes. And that's the public phase of the campaign. And we'll have a lot of, kind of communications and marketing and branding campaign that go all, you know, yeah, and if we can get a challenge grant, Murdoch, once again, they usually like matching elements. And so sometimes if they were to give 400, they might ask the community to, you know, either match them or give 200,000, right? They want to spur, and they're not the only ones that love to inspire the lower level donors to be generous. So yes. Yeah.
So when you talked about a minute ago about getting to this point and having it about the same time as construction.
Yes.
Should we do a contract?
Yes.
Will you come back with more of a timeline and the reason for that?
It's a great
I'm
question.
sorry, I apologize.
It's a great question.
I apologize. It has to sit outside so I can see the slide. Is having a little bit more timetable, because I know that with bank and what, at least what I heard from the mayor, is that we're gonna be moving more aggressively toward groundbreaking and building. If I'm correct in what I heard, so I just wanted to make sure that you understand that.
He does, and
Okay.
it's critical that we get a contract. I didn't realize as we were working through this process that in the perfect world, we'll have done this campaign's gonna take a year and sometimes a year and a half. And in the perfect world, we finished the campaign before we break ground. The work will become more difficult once we break ground. So
And I get that. I just want to make sure that.
Yeah.
Understood the timeline.
Yeah.
He totally understands the timeline.
Yeah, and it's gonna, and my best guess, it's gonna take a year and a half to raise $5.5 million. Right, and I hope I'm wrong, as I mentioned at Finance Committee. If you land let's just say put a name on the building, 1.5 or $2 million. You land that, maybe another $1 million gift, a couple well, that changes the game and the timeline, right? I mean, but let's say we get a name on the building, but we don't get the other, higher level 6-figure gifts. And so that is what changes all this. And so, so starting as soon as possible after phase 1 and feasibility study are done. So come back to you, report in August. My hope is that we could start phase 2 if all goes well. We're starting September 1 or 10th.
What you're seeing here tonight is phase 1 is what we're asking you guys to approve. If next week's council meeting, if we have one, we're going to have a discussion later this evening about that. But we can't wait for a month from now to approve it, because then we're going to set them back another month. And so the phase 1 is going to tell us, is there support and appetite in our community to do the campaign? And we think there is, because the library did a similar exercise and learned that there is support in the community for this, the project. So.
Just one last request.
Yes.
This is unfamiliar to me, all of us. Is the areas that we may look at naming. And the reason I bring that up is, having thought about it, it wasn't until I was watching one of the basketball games, so.
Sorry. So, they had the naming of the field house, then they had the naming of the court inside the field house.
Right.
So I was really surprised at the level they went down to for naming rights. So I would just, at some point in time, would you let us know, is the building a possible naming rights? Is the plaza a possible naming rights? Is the meeting room a possible?
All those things are on the list.
Yeah, no, but I hadn't even considered, that level of detail. What do I get for a bathroom stall? I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well, no,
no, I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a great point. And Yeah, I think my wife and I, you know, since we were between 10 and 20,000, we named a rock. Like there's landscape rocks out in the, you know, entrance of this, right? And so I'm just, and that was the, you know, so we might go down to the 10 to $20,000 range. Probably 20,000 might be our lowest naming opportunity, but hey, we'll come back with a proposal in phase one with that report at the end of August, and you'll see, yeah, you'll see that.
We've got some recommendations that came from our consultant, but
Yes.
guys from the pros.
We should already thought about it, but you know, there's always the biotile program. Imagine if they do something similar.
No,
It's already-
absolutely not.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, and it's, I would suggest saving that for another project. And so when I say absolutely not, probably not part of the $5.5 million campaign, but there might be a good reason to do, you know, and remind me, is the plaza part of this?
That, yes.
It's part of this, and so
And the bigger part of the campaign
Yep.
is for the holistic project that includes the plaza.
yes,
We're going back to the Public Facilities District to ask for some more money,
right,
and I'll have a better idea what our need is the end of the month.
nice,
The true number, whether or not they grant our, but we do have in the entrance this, you have
Yeah.
to look at the.
yeah. I did. I saw. So having a donor wall, right, with those who are the middle. And so doing a brick thing is just better. If you, let's just say you want to raise $200,000 for X. I have no idea what X is. Maybe after this campaign, and then people, you know, and what is it, $250 or $500 to get your brick, right? We've been to Gig Harbor Y. They have something similar to this, right? In their entryway. I think this thing, hey, it's two different things.
Different levels.
Separated.
Questions for Brad? So our goal is bring back the phase one piece of it, determine if there's support and from the community, and then hopefully there's got to be. And then we would come back to you guys after in August, September to potentially award a contract to dive into phase two.
Right.
Are we separate from the library?
Are very distinctly, and we need to, and some of the steering committee members are purposely on their steering committee and ours so that we make sure we're not asking the same people for the same money. We've got it, and that's really their, other than a state grant, sole source. And I think, you know, and we've really got to be conscious of that and likely step aside in some situations because for them to be successful.
And I'm even going to say there'll probably be, in my experience, there'll probably be 10, maybe 20 donors who give to both campaigns. But and I know a lot of, I've 38 years of doing this, and I'm always surprised on how many organizations not only do I support, but other major donors who give six-figure gifts. They tend to have a half a dozen to a dozen organizations that they love in different areas of philanthropy. And so I'm just here to say you're going to have donors who support both campaigns because they are passionate about, you know, the waterfront or the Port Orchard Event Center, and they're passionate about libraries. And so, you know, but we'll have those conversations as a steering committee and say, hey, can you know, Susie Smith, you know, do we think, you know, asking her for X would, you know, that she would sit down with us, you know, listen. And a lot of times, I'll tell you one quick story in 30 seconds. I had a donor for this last campaign. Tim Martin's his name, owns Pacific Bottling, big family, very diversified. And we went and did feasibility study. And at the end, we always ask him, you know, would this be something you would consider in the future? And he said no. And we were super surprised because 30 years later, he was the campaign chair for the YMCA capital campaign, which was much bigger, but this is where his business is located. And so, but he called our CEO like 2 days later and said, and I think what really happened is he has 3 siblings, and one of them used to work at Summit as a nurse, and she's still a nurse. And so I think she probably got in the conversation. I'm just guessing, right? but he had a change of heart just a couple of days later, and the family came in and gave a gift in honor of their mom who has dementia at $200,000. So people like that, sometimes it just takes them a while to think about it, to warm up to the concept. So
My wife usually has to tell me a couple of times something is a good idea. I listen waiting.
well said. But I'm not the only one.
So any more questions for Brad?
Yeah, thank you.
Guys, I know the second time you guys, thank you, Brad.
Yeah, thanks for your patience.
Greatly appreciate you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Okay, we ready to dive into talking about special events, and Brandy's gonna blow a spreadsheet up for us. We're getting that one tonight. Do what?
That one tonight?
It's up to you guys. I was asked to put it on the agenda tonight, so that's why it's there. We can postpone this. Okay, we'll put it to the back. How about I think the town hall recap could probably wait too. Public restroom discussion is going to be quick. I've had a conversation with the port. And they have a security guard starting at what time, Chief? 9 o'clock. That's down on the waterfront. 9 p.m. So the idea would be, I've asked them to get me a proposal on what it would cost, because that's their version. They need somebody down there, present. Otherwise, bad things happen down there. And then the restrooms, unwanted activity, and the restrooms get vandalized. So I've asked them for a proposal for security 7 days a week from 6 to 9 p.m. And I don't know if their security company has interest, has capacity, or what the cost is, but I went down and asked the question. I knew that was going to be a question, so I asked them for the summer and for year round. So, and I have no idea what that would cost. We don't have it in the budget. We'd have to find some money. It's likely the one down here on the water over here. I don't think we see as much activity over here at the boat launch. I don't know. I did. Yeah. Okay. I can ask about both. But it was about, we're in a conversation, and they said they would get back to me.
Yeah. So. I'll account for the.
Sam hasn't shared that with me.
She shared with me Sunday that she's paying about $700 a month right now with costs, with bath towels, whatever you want to call them, paper towels and everything. It's going to be a lot. So she's about tapped.
Talking about the market, space inside the market. Used to be the dock, yeah.
The reasonable consideration of a porta potty down at the other end of the trail.
I'm planning on, if I can get there, the food truck thing. I shared the email with all you guys. I don't know if you had a chance to read it or not. We were going to put a porta potty in there and a hand washing station with the food truck. I'm just dumbfounded that the real estate guy at the bank didn't understand that that was a contaminated site, and the bank cleaned it up, and he's backtracking that we've got to do more due diligence. I didn't know what was in the barrels. Should have been part of their due diligence when they bought the bank. And so hasn't responded to me in 2 days. And I'm asking him about, well, can we at least move forward with the paved lot? Will you figure this out? And he's not being responsive. So I might have to talk to some other folks on that.
I know they get most of the impact from us. They have constantly for us, and they have people monitoring. employees. Safety.
Scott, I don't have a bathroom to offer. I don't know what the solution is.
Under.
It's
underbuilt.
it's talking, I mean, it's a concrete structure with controls and things inside of it. It would be extremely expensive to modify that to turn it into a public restaurant, and it's concrete walls. And even if you guys did that and put that in the budget next year, we're going to construction on the community center, and that whole area is going to be a construction area that people aren't going to be able to access. The community center, yes. Yeah, the library's open to, I think, 7 o'clock at night.
What bathroom do we own besides the one at the lift station? Yeah. No, no, well, first time after 5 years, we didn't put food trucks and encourage people to come.
When we do the food trucks, we're gonna have.
I understand. We weren't running, like example, Friday night. If you read the packet of things to improve on, one's bathrooms.
Special events are required, should be required to have porta
Special events, we should open a city bathroom. I mean,
And they would like, definitely like to see more bathrooms, there's people with emergent needs, you know. Is that, they.
Yeah.
There's a public provider, recreational. Operations on that. My daughter was walking forward that bathroom and said, locked up, everybody goes behind the building.
I can ask the port to do that, but you know, they aren't our restrooms, and what they put for signage and when they open them is well, and I've asked that question, whether or not, and I don't have the answers to that yet, but I did ask, went down last week after our council meeting and chatted with Tim and her name escapes me right now, but anyway, I went down and talked to the management down there and
I don't think it's their responsibility though. I mean, I think we need to look and see how much does it cost to redo that bathroom. Yeah. Right, but there are citizens too, right? We have a walkway that goes all the way through it as a pathway as well. Yeah,
Ownership.
that's fine. Yeah, and we contribute zero. You know what I'm saying? Like we contribute nothing, and they at least have bathrooms there, bathrooms down there during the days. Yeah. As you mean to participate. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I would buy that bathroom in. And go public restrooms. And retail. And I agree. I've had an unfortunate situation of being on the end of the phone call about we need you guys because we have a dead body. also have to have the money to do it.
Sewer lift station. You don't think is appropriate for a bathroom? So I don't get in trouble here.
So I don't want to appear unsympathetic because I do, right? I sympathize. I also know that this is a pervasive problem in many communities, right? Bremerton arguably has the most need out of any community in Kitsap doesn't have 24-hour public restrooms. Or even anything past when their parks department still works. We don't have a parks department yet that works like that. And I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. I think we should be in a planning stages for when we can get there, because I think that we'd have to add some additional pocket parks and things like that we could possibly do, where maybe down the line we can add that to our pros plan so that we can add those types of things. But I'm with Jay, right? There's documented proof. There's a group in Bremerton on the march right now. They need a space to just even during the day use the restroom. You see some reporting to me where they put in some temporary restrooms for the FEMA games that are ongoing right now, and families going to those in less than 24 hours. So I think this is something that I would love to see on a future retreat topics list so that we can plan accordingly long term. I don't think there's a good solution in the short term. I also just kind of want to say I don't love the idea of littering waterfront with porta potties here and there outside of special events when they need. I'm going on. I'm trying to say that.
Very well spoken. I'm in favor of trying to see what port comes back with. Let's focus on working with the port, see what we can do about maybe extending the time that bathroom down by what I call the spinning park is open. I did some research over the weekend on cities around the Sound, various sizes, including Olympia. Looked at Ruston Way down in Tacoma, beautiful area down there. Their restrooms, public restrooms, are closed at 7 o'clock at the latest, and they open at 9 o'clock in the mornings. Most of the cities, Puyallup runs at 8 to 10. Gig Harbor's 5 to 10. They're on auto timers. We've had some issues with auto timers, or the port has had issues with auto timers.
Sorry. You got packed toilet paper in the mechanism, and so that they don't lock at the end of the day. And so then
they're wide open for folks.
They had them and they removed them because they weren't effective.
But I do think
different. We've got them in McCormick Village Park at Van Zee. It's just different clientele out in those parks than we have on the water.
Than we have on the waterfront. I do think it should be a conversation for a retreat as part of our parks plan moving forward. But I agree, there's no short-term solution right now, but it should be on our horizon.
Yeah, I'm one person that's not for that.
Yeah, my hand, excuse me. I don't like pushing things off to, I think we put things off to retreats too often. It's like kicking the can down the road instead of addressing the issues. But we encourage people to use our pathway, to come down and use a pathway. Where do we expect them to go to the bathroom? You have a lot of nice benches that you've installed. Thank you very much for that effort. Like, we want people to hang out down there and do those things, but yet we don't provide bathrooms. but we think it's somebody else's responsibility, like the merchants. And that's what's been said at council is, well, they can use the merchants' bathrooms. Well, no, they can't. Now they're pushing back because the costs are going up so high, and they're feeling it. She's not wrong on those right there because they've been telling me the same thing. In every community that you listed on your list, they all offer bathrooms. So while they have time limits, they all have bathrooms. We don't have that. And we have a nice waterfront that we really don't want people to come down and enjoy, but yet they have nowhere to go to the bathroom.
So I just to try to put a
Yeah.
little bit more. Short term, our best solution is a partnership with the port.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah,
Medium term could be if it's a priority, we've got a budget process coming up. It'll be expensive, but we can do a bathroom. I don't know where we would put it, like we have, down at, in one of our parks, a modular bathroom was $100,000.
You could do a Portland loop for about $150,000.
150,000. The best long-term plan is our updated parks plan and our parks levy, because we're going to have a group of staff members that support this activity and be emptying garbages and locking and unlocking facilities, and we're running programs, and that's really the long-term play that I see.
I don't know that we
So,
should.
So I'd like to just respectfully push back a little bit. This is going to cost dollars. So that's why when we set our priorities at retreat, that's why it needs to be a retreat topic. Pushing it off all the way till next year, we can revisit our priorities as we set them. That's what I mean by making that a retreat topic, because we can't have a priority if we don't have a budget to do that priority. And then just to make sure that we set that retreat. I don't believe anybody's ever actually. It is the responsibility of the merchants. It has been for 135 years, the tradition that is where they were able to do that. So
no, it's been said that they can use the merchant's bathroom. It's been said here.
I agree, right? That's what the current tradition is, right? We've done it for 135 years.
So we haven't. Oh, the merchants have done it.
That's what I'm saying. We as a community have done it in this capacity. So if we want to take a different way, we got to plan and do that. I'm okay with doing that, but it takes dollars.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for spending dollars, and you are for sure down for spending dollars.
I'm always down for spending dollars, but we prioritized that already, and now we have to reprioritize. So something's going to come off, and maybe even more as we saw some of those updated finance numbers.
If we can do the contract with the port, I mean, we have to we have to redo our whole budget for that. But if we can do that, that'd be terrific.
And even if we built a bathroom, we have to manage it and maintain it. Because if we build the bathroom and it just takes one bad actor to go in there and destroy the dang thing. And that's what the port was experiencing. So it'll involve resources to manage that bathroom.
Yeah.
I think the moment is right. But we've got to update we have a plan. And I don't know that it's realistic with it. At the retreat, you guys said we were going to put a fireworks measure on not this November, but next November when we were on the ballot. Okay. Mr. Bond, are you still there?
I am here, and we're all having trouble hearing you on the microphones on.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not loving these microphones either. Can you hear me better now?
Much better.
Okay, because I was being casual and sitting back. I won't do that anymore, or try not to. So if we, the budget should have a new updating our parks plan in it. And like we started that, if we hired a consultant in February, how quickly could that body of work be done? Is it realistic that we've created a plan, including a potential, funding plan for a levy for next November, or is that too aggressive?
It's probably too aggressive unless you were to start that work this year. And I think that, doesn't the November levy, wouldn't the levy have a deadline much sooner, and wouldn't you want to have the material?
Yeah, you've got to.
You got to have a plan.
We have to file it in August, that we, our
Yes.
intent.
So you would have to put to the voters what you're gonna build. or
Correct,
pay
in
for.
August. We
Yeah,
have
so
to-
I think that's pretty unrealistic unless we started,
Yeah.
in July or August of this year.
Yeah, and we probably don't have capacity to do that either. So anyway, so it's realistically a couple of years off that we're running that levy. So
All right, well, TBD based on what the court tells us.
Yeah. I think that's okay. We've, one thing that came up, and Dennis once in a while has a good idea. So I'll share with that.
Once in a while.
Well, he usually comes back with screwy stuff, but yeah, you had one because after the finance Debbie meeting, Debbie is very concerned about our ability to get fully staffed in DCD and hiring the level of people we're looking for. And we might end up hiring more junior people and training them. And that could be the market out there. Dennis's idea, because I'll bring the other two of you up to speed, is that our plan was we don't have construction management. We have got construction management contract that you guys awarded for $1 million for the road. We manage the construction of City Hall internally, but with support from the building department and Public Works. Dennis's idea is hire an experienced construction manager as an employee for 2 years. And that's probably a pretty good idea because it can be way cheaper than paying a consulting firm.
You can hire him probably for,
Well, we only need them for 2.
no, I mean.
To build the building,
As
but
far as with $1 million that
Yeah.
you're guessing that cost for that project.
go ahead, sir.
We have Bethel projects coming. We'll have other projects that we could use a construction manager on. I don't think I wouldn't box yourself in is what I'm trying to say. And I think what a fabulous
but-
idea.
And the key there though is this isn't like a road project. This is different.
Agreed. But hopefully you can find somebody who's got multiple areas of expertise. And how did we characterize this idea?
Dennis is crazy idea.
Crazy idea.
And it's a good.
Dennis, I'm so glad you're on our team.
Well, and this is a great tool.
You've definitely earned your salary for the month.
Okay, thanks. But it's you're not obligated to keep an employee, and you don't hire them under a false pretense that they're going to have a job forever. But I've gotten retirees that want to come live someplace and see if they like living in the Northwest. I hired somebody that was a project. We built the rec center in Gig Harbor. They came on as an interim project, limited term, and they're still there. I think they're 5 years now, and because priorities changed, like you're talking about. So, but you're not obligated. That's the important part.
So I think as we're preparing our budget, I think we should probably add that FTE into the process. And Dennis, it was a great idea. I'm just teasing him because he sometimes comes up.
That'd be for 28.
It'd be for 27 because we're going to construction next year. So we might.
Our budget is 2-year
Yeah.
budget start next year.
Yeah, 27 and 28. And we might need to start that recruitment early because we're probably going to construction in March or so. Maybe not. We'll talk to HR and.
There's work.
Yeah. So anyway, just a thought. I thought it was a good one.
I think you should
Thanks,
buy him a
Dennis.
coffee at least.
Buy Dennis a coffee?
At least.
Okay, all right. All right. So we have a fairly full agenda next Tuesday. At least 3 of us are gone. That would leave 4. Yeah. So you might be a body of 4 next Tuesday. There are only 5 things that are mission critical. So you got your choice. We didn't publish our agenda with these 5 items that need to happen next Tuesday. Or you can have a meeting next Tuesday with 4 of you to tackle a lighter agenda.
I think there was one we scratched off the grant agreement. That doesn't need to go. That's not as time
Okay.
sensitive. Yeah.
It's pretty benign, but.
Right. But I was just saying, so there's four.
So you want me to run through what either these items are and talk, so
Or you can take action on them tonight.
that could be, it would be out of the norm because we didn't publish that we were gonna, so here's, the first one is very benign. It is the approval of the road closure for the Fathoms of Fun Festival and parade. Okay, we are attempting to contract with the county to do our paving this summer. And we've talked about it. Dennis is getting positive information from Public Works. The administration's giving me different answers, and I'm trying to get the bottom of it because we can't get to August and not have somebody under contract to do our paving. So they got to get this figured out really soon. We have an existing ILA with the county, but it has a $10,000 cap on how much work that they can do for us. It's $300,000 in paving. We just want to strike the language that limits how much work. We're still got. But you'll bring that material. Yeah.
Everybody at this meeting, if you go over it, there's how to change your situation, but I will go over it. We have a comment.
We don't need it. Got myself to vote on it.
Talk to the county.
Would ever be voting on it.
Aren't there a motion next week that you're trying to get done?
Well, we're trying to modify the agreement.
You just bring the ceiling.
I can't, well, three people.
No, still requires a vote of 4 at all times.
We can't.
You're going to have to do it tonight. You can't even do it tonight.
I can't do anything that involves the county. Oh, no. Any contracts.
So we've got to set that one aside because we got two council members that can't vote for that. So we'll set that one aside. Okay, we don't need to debate it.
We don't need
anymore.
to debate it.
We don't need to debate it anymore. Okay, we'll set that one aside. Okay. There's an agreement to get the money for the $1 million for the state that we got 2 sessions ago. And so Charlie thinks, can that one wait?
Yeah, that one I think can wait. So the law's gray as to grant agreement approval. But as any grant agreement, you are agreeing to the strings that it comes with. So if you have questions about that, definitely reach out.
But it's free money and we have to sign the state's agreement to get their money. And so, but I'm being told it can wait.
No pressure on that, yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have one thing that's critical so far. We have we want to amend our agreement with Bremerton. So we have an agreement that they're buying the water tower from us for the water in McCormick. We have an intertie down here downtown and we've got this well problem and we need to Bremerton has offered to modify that agreement to allow us to use that agreement for that sale of that asset to get water for downtown under the scope of that agreement. And so we wouldn't have to buy the water for cash. We think it's a good deal. And so we'd want to get that done ASAP. Bremerton's already agreed to it. And so we want to be able to start getting water from them and not pay cash for it.
You have 4 items there.
I have one more.
Well, you have one more?
Yeah, I have one more.
Okay.
Okay, so so right now, 2 of them, the water agreement and the last one is Brad's body of work. And so there is.
Brown needs a car.
No, that can wait.
Said he can wait.
That can wait. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
We already talked about it. Sorry.
But.
So are you guys do you want to take action on them this evening? Or do you want to, and then not have a meeting next Tuesday?
Yeah, make them.
Okay. Well, I got one more. Okay, so I think, guide me here. Are you gonna amend the agenda or are we just gonna?
The level of formality is up to the council, so you can
Okay.
do a two-step amendment and then thing, or you can just do the thing. The other option I wanted to throw out there is we could get a head nod from everyone and then bring all these items back as ratification in July. But ratification is something we use very sparingly, and it is, okay.
So I just wanted, Brad's contract, it would be we already talked about it's $70,000, up to $70,000 in a form acceptable to the city attorney. Okay, so it's B and C and D.
First of all, correct me if I'm wrong, Karen, first thing we need to do, Ms. Archer. First thing we need to do though is amend our agenda. Do these items correct?
Well, that's what I just said. So the level of formality is up to you. You don't have to do that this evening.
So as long as everybody's okay here, I'm going to go ahead and add 3 items, business items. Right now it's 3. Yep.
Oh, that's
3.
Yeah.
Yep. I motion to add 3 business items as were already done to our agenda. Second.
We'll take them. Yes.
You recognize?
Mr. Mayor?
Second.
Yes, there's a motion by Scott,
Motion by
John,
John.
and a second by Scott. Okay, thank
Excuse
you.
me, point of order.
Yep.
Dennis has a comment.
Mr. Mayor, there's another item on the agenda, which I think we're gonna look for funding. It is the adoption of the Tremont Phase 2 and 3 alternative study that the full council's reviewed what our last concept was, but we had to do a formal adoption of that so we can proceed funding sources.
And I'm being messaged that we need to do, so we need 3 more of these microphones. I'm not liking this setup, but if we have to live with it, everybody's got to have a microphone in front of them.
If we do have them on order.
Okay,
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to rescind that request.
okay, so I didn't speak to this one. It's on the list.
Not on there. She just rescinded his request. So there's
No longer on this? Okay. All right. There's a motion to amend the agenda, correct? And motion a second. He's taken my list away, so I'm out of, so all in favor of amending the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The agenda has been amended.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the special event street closure for the 57th Fathoms of Fun Annual Grand Parade with Great Ball Race.
Got a motion by Councilmember Morrissey, a second by Councilmember Rosa Pepe to approve the event application and road closure. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the event has been approved.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve amendment number 090-14 for water supply with the city of Bremerton.
Motion by Councilmember Morrissey, a second by Councilmember Warden to modify our water agreement with the city of Bremerton. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Okay, the last one.
Mr. Mayor, I move for to execute a contract not to exceed $70,000 with Northwest Philanthropic Consultant Services.
In a form.
In a form acceptable to the city attorney. Thank you.
Second that amended amendment.
Okay, we've got a motion by Councilmember Morrissey, a second by Councilmember Trenary to approve a contract for the fundraising campaign. We got the presentation on this evening in amount not to exceed $70,000 in a form acceptable to the city attorney. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right.
Mr. Mayor, do I need to make a motion to cancel the meeting for next week, or can you just do that on your own? I believe because we set that meeting up ahead of time, it is by ordinance. You can cancel it without that. Perfect. Thank you.
Cancel without, I can do that administratively. Okay, we will cancel next Tuesday's meeting. We will reconvene in 4 weeks.
Is Megan gonna give us updates on her travels? I mean.
Well, you canceled the meeting. Well, you're not going to Spokane, so our meeting is adjourned.
Back on.
Right, Nick.
Keep it out on the side of the water.